My name is David, and there's something I need to tell you. Not because it's easy to say, but because I wish someone had said it to me when I still had time to change. I spent most of my life chasing something I thought would give me everything. Success. I built a company from nothing. Long nights, endless pressure, constant stress. But I kept going. I believed that if I just worked harder than everyone else, if I sacrificed more than everyone else, one day it would all make sense. And eventually it did. The money came. The recognition came. The respect came. People looked at me and saw someone who had made it. But what they didn't see was everything I was quietly losing along the way. And the truth is, I didn't see it either. Not at first. Because when you're moving fast, when your whole life is focused on building something bigger, you don't stop to notice what's breaking behind you. You only notice when the silence gets too loud to ignore. I still remember the early days clearly. I was young, hungry, and full of belief. I had just gotten married to someone who truly believed in me. We didn't have much money, but we had something far more valuable. We had time, we had presence, we had each other. And slowly, without even realizing it, I started trading all of that away. At first it didn't feel like a big deal. Missing one dinner, coming home late, canceling small plans. Those things feel harmless in the moment. You tell yourself, it's just temporary. But temporary habits create permanent distance. And that's something I learned far too late. When my daughter was born, I remember holding her in my arms and feeling something I had never felt before. Responsibility, love, fear. And I made a silent promise to myself. I'll always be there. But life doesn't break promises loudly. It breaks them quietly, over time. One missed moment at a time. There was always something more important. Or at least, something that felt more urgent. Another meeting, another deal, another goal that couldn't wait. And somehow, the people who mattered most always ended up waiting. I kept telling myself I would fix it later, that I would slow down once things were stable, that I would be present when I finally had time. But here's the truth no one tells you. You never find time. You either make it or you lose it. And I kept losing it. There's a moment I can't forget. It seems small, but it stayed with me longer than any business deal I ever closed. My daughter came to me one day, holding something she had made. She was excited, full of energy, waiting for me to notice her. And I barely looked up. I told her to wait. Just a minute. That minute never came. She stood there for a few seconds, then quietly walked away. No anger, no complaint. Just silence. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But years later, I realized something that hit me harder than anything else in my life. For me, it was a small moment. For her, it was a memory. And those are the moments that shape how someone feels about you. Not the big speeches, not the expensive gifts, but the small times, when they needed you, and you weren't there. That's how distance begins, not suddenly, but slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. As the years passed, my business grew beyond anything I had imagined. Bigger deals, more pressure, more success. We moved into a bigger house, the kind of house I once dreamed about. But something inside that house had changed. The warmth was gone. The connection felt weaker. Conversations became shorter, more formal, less real. And I kept telling myself the same lie. It's just a phase. It'll get better. Once things calm down. But things never calm down when your priorities are out of place. They just keep pulling you further away. One day I realized something painful. I wasn't part of their lives anymore. I was just present in the background, like a guest in my own home. That realization doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in slowly. Until one day, it becomes impossible to ignore. Years passed faster than I ever expected. One day, my daughter was packing her bags, ready to leave. I stood there watching her, feeling proud, but also feeling like I had missed something important, like I had skipped the chapters that actually mattered. Shortly after that, my marriage ended. Not because of one big mistake, but because of years of small absences, moments where I should have been there, but wasn't. And the hardest part? I understood why. I couldn't blame anyone else, because deep down, I knew the truth. After that, I did what I always knew. I worked. Even more, because work was the only place where I didn't have to face what I had lost. And the business kept growing. Bigger success, more recognition. But also, deeper emptiness, because success feels very different when there's no one close enough to share it with. Then one day, everything stopped. A moment that forced me to slow down, to sit still, to face reality. And for the first time in my life, I asked myself a question I had been avoiding for years. What was all of this for? That question changes everything, because suddenly, all the things you thought were important don't feel the same anymore. You realize something simple, but painful. You can rebuild a business. You can earn money again. But you cannot rebuild time. You cannot recreate moments that already passed. You cannot go back and be there when you weren't. That truth stays with you. It doesn't go away. I eventually stepped away from everything. I had more money than I could ever need, more time than I knew what to do with. But the people I wanted to share it with had already learned how to live without me. I tried to reconnect. I tried to fix things. But relationships don't work like that. They grow with presence, or they fade with absence. And we had too much absence. We talk now, we meet sometimes, but there's a distance that never fully disappears, and that distance is built from years that can't be undone. Now I spend a lot of time thinking, not about success, not about money, but about moments, the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones I once believed didn't matter, because in the end, those are the only things that truly do. Here's the truth I learned too late. Success without the people you love is empty. Money without someone to share it with feels meaningless. And achievements mean nothing if the people closest to you weren't part of the journey. I see people today making the same choices I made, running the same race, believing the same lies, thinking they'll fix everything later. But later is not guaranteed. And even when it comes, it doesn't look the way you imagined. So if you're watching this right now, pause for a moment, look at your life, look at the people around you, and ask yourself honestly, what am I trading away right now? Because whatever it is, make sure it's worth it. Because one day you won't get the chance to choose again. And trust me, that realization comes with a price.